Here's a picture of Grandpa and Grandma, the white folks, as he calls them, and typical white people who raised him.
Later, he speaks of Catholic school and Muslim school. He says on page 154, "In the Muslim school, the teacher wrote to tell my mother that I made faces during Quranic studies. In the Catholic school, when it came time to pray, I would pretend to close my eyes, then peek around the room. Nothing happened. No angels descended. Just a parched old nun and 30 brown children muttering words."
In a CNN interview, as you're going to see in a little bit here, he claims that he went to a Catholic school. Ironically, I mean, I want you to hear carefully how he put it in words. Ironically, it just happened that the first school he attended, it was a Catholic school. That make him a Christian, like the other senator sitting on the stage. What Senator Obama did not tell the American people that he was in a Catholic school registered as a Muslim student. And he did not attend the prayer meeting of the Christian, but he went to attend his own prayer meeting and the Muslim religious classes every day whenever the Muslims split from the Christian for the religious class. Yes, Christian in Egypt have opportunity to go to the Catholic school because that's our school, but Muslim also attend Catholic school in Egypt for a better education. Literally all students who go to Catholic school aim to be a doctors, engineers, lawyers, so smart people. I could not go to a Catholic school because I could not afford it. And there are so many Muslim students in the Catholic school in Egypt than Christian. And I dare a Catholic school in Egypt or in Indonesia to teach their Muslim student about Jesus. They will never do that, because if they do, they most likely will lose their building. The Muslim will burn the Catholic school. When we have the the religious hour in our school, the Muslim leaves the room, if there are a small number, right now they have a large number, so the Christian leaves the room in the Catholic school and attend the religious class. And Muslim learn about Muhammad and Allah and the Quran. He was registered in both schools as a Muslim student.
Perhaps the most profound statement Barack Obama makes on the topic of his personal faith is found on page 86. He said, "Only Malcolm X's autobiography seemed to offer something different. His repeated acts of self-creation spoke to me. The blunt poetry of his words, his unadorned insistence on respect, promised a new and uncompromising order."
Malcolm X. What do we know about Malcolm X? He had a big role in Obama's life. And American people don't know anything about Malcolm. Maybe you forgot who is Malcolm X.
And two, if Malcolm's discovery toward the end of his life that some whites might live beside him as brothers in Islam seemed to offer some hope of the eventual reconciliation, that hope appeared in a distant future, in a far-off land. In the meantime, I looked to see where the people would come from who were willing to work toward this future and populate this new world.
The hope and the future for Obama is the white and the black Muslim get together and refill this earth. And Malcolm X, the one who have nothing but everything to say against you people, is one of his great ideology to go to live by. He heard his word and he believed in him. He have a great emphasis on him spiritually. Let me quote you two quotations, just two, of what Malcolm X says before he left this earth.
"And in my conclusion I repeat, we want no part of integration with this wicked race of devils." But he also says we should not be expected to leave America empty-handed. After 400 years of slave labor, we have some back pay coming, a bill that is owed to us and must be collected. If the government of America truly repents of its sins against our people and atones by giving us our true share of the land and the wealth, then America can save herself. But if America waits for God to step in and force her to make a just settlement, God will take this entire continent away from the white man. And the Bible says that God can then give the kingdom to whomsoever he pleases. I thank you. Malcolm X.
Maybe because Malcolm X used the Bible, Obama liked him. Not even know what he says in whatever he says. That's one quotation. Next one for Malcolm X, he says,
"White America is doomed. Death and devastating destruction hang at this very moment in the skies over America. But why must her divine execution take place? Is it too late for her to avoid this catastrophe?" Malcolm X.
What a great words. Maybe American people need to know who is Malcolm X and what he thought and what he said, so they maybe understood Obama, so they can vote right next November.
On page 279, Barack strangely refers to himself being thought to be a Muslim. He explains how he called on local churches. Whenever I reached them by phone, they would often be suspicious or evasive, uncertain as to why this Muslim, or worse yet, this Irishman, Obama, wanted a few minutes of their time.
You know, I can relate to Obama and his problem here, because when I started our ministry a few years ago, I called churches, and not even any church is interested to talk to me. Who is Usama Daktok from Egypt? So I got smart, and I added a statement. My name is Usama Daktok. I am from First Baptist Church of Venice, Florida. And boy, oh boy, some pastors start meeting with me. It worked. Obama is working hard to do all the work he's trying to do in the community, and he needs the help of the church. So what he do? He calls the churches. Obviously, and I guarantee you, he never mentioned Hussein or Baraka. He said, my name is Obama. And Obama could be an Irish name, but he here, you know, inside his mind, he knows that he's a Muslim. And he writes by his own hand, in his own book, that the people in the church say, what this Muslim man or Irish man want from us? You got the point?
Senator, you are a Christian, but as a child, you had more exposure to Islam than probably most Americans ever will. How did that shape you?
Well, I lived in Indonesia for 4.5 years when I was a child. And actually, ironically, the first school I went to in Indonesia was a Catholic school. Myself and Senator Bob Casey, who's sitting here, we had pretty similar experiences probably, in part of at least our elementary school. I then attended a public school, but the majority of the country was Muslim. And the brand of Islam that was being practiced in Indonesia at the time was a very tolerant Islam. The country itself was explicitly secular in its constitution. And so you didn't have the oppressive state that was trying to impose people's religious beliefs. And Christians and people of other faiths lived very comfortably there. And women were working and out and were not wearing the traditional coverings that we see in the Middle East. And so what it taught me and what it still teaches me as I think about foreign policy now is that Islam can be compatible with the modern world. It can be a partner with the Christian and Jewish and Hindu and Buddhist faiths in trying to create a better world. And so I am always careful and suspicious of attempts to paint Islam with a broad brush, because the overwhelming majority of the people of the Islamic faith are people of goodwill who are trying to raise their families and live up to their values and ideals, and to try to raise their kids as best they can. And that's something that I think we always have to remember, as opposed to assuming a clash of civilizations that sometimes our overheated rhetoric politically has talked about.
Let's go to Reverend.
Really? How did in the world CNN lady here knows that he's a Christian? I believe he gave her the question, and she asked him exactly as he asked her to ask him. Senator, you're a Christian, but you grew up in a Muslim country. No. And then he made up this Catholic school. He obviously did not tell the audience here that I was registered as a Muslim student. I learned about Islam during these years. Senator, you're a Christian. And then he said, on these days, which is 40 years ago, Christian and Jew and Muslim were living in peace in Indonesia. Do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Do your grandchildren a favor. Go check Islam in Indonesia from the 50s till today. Christians have been killed, if there was the last 50-some years in Indonesia, like chicken. I've been there twice. And I know what is Christian in Indonesia are going through. They were tolerant. They were nice people. Muslim and Christian Jew living together. And they're very wonderful. They're like honey and milk. Women were not covered then. Till today, still women in Indonesia are not covered, but men in Indonesia are killing Christians even today like chicken. And Americans do nothing about it. Your own Christian brothers are killed right now, today, in Indonesia, and nobody is going to say anything about it. And this started from the 50s, before Obama was born. And he said, no, when he was there, they were very nice. They were loving each other, they were holding hands all the time, and they were always singing Kumbaya. Not like now. Then it was different. Lie after lie after lie. I can take all his word in this interview, word for word, and I'll show you that he's a liar. You don't believe me? Go online and check it for yourself.